Probably because of my environment, my background, money to me is something that is important, but yet I will also want to take some time to enjoy the money that I've earned rather than really give everything to the future generation.
Money is just a means to an end to solve problems and to have better quality of life. And I think making money right now, I think would be kind of like the process to get to that goal.
So are you then like on the fire journey or like all that? Because our bro here is like big on fire.
I need to correct myself.
You need to correct yourself.
But later,
Okay, wait. Welcome to the Financial Coconut Podcast. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And today, in partnership with Manulife's Asia Care Survey, we have another episode talking about general perspectives across different generations. How do we think about money and all that jazz? Some interesting findings. Apparently, Gen Z think travel is a must. Right? So we will have that. Okay, I'm not here to defend the Gen Zs. I'm from the millennial crowd. Later we'll have others. So yes, I'm who I am, and I'm joined with Chris. You want to introduce yourself for all this that somehow don't know you?
All right, so my name is Chris. I run social media channel by the handle Honey Money SG. So you may have heard of me through various personal finance strategies that you may come across from several platforms. And I'm here to represent the elder part of the millennial.
Well, the line's very strong today, right?
Not elder, it's more experience.
Okay, maybe.
Wisdom.
Yeah, okay. So I'm here to maybe shout out my debate from my level. And then if you disagree with anything, just go and comment down below what you really think.
Okay. But are you still in SG? You're not in SG anymore.
I'm not in SG because of various reasons that we will discuss on the show.
Okay. That's a hook. I'll stay till the end. Yes. And we have Vanessa in town. Who are you defending today?
Alrighty. I'm Vanessa Ho and I work in startup and tech. I do some venture capital work, especially in fintech. I do a lot of content creation as well, some podcasts, usually around entrepreneurship. And I am turning 25. So I'm kind of like on the older end of Gen Z, which are like 27.
Come on, even Gen Z also need to draw a line.
Yes, no, like the Gen Zs nowadays are like 2000 plus and above. And I call them the TikTok generation, which I rarely use. So
you're
yes.
IG girl.
Yes, IG girl. So the older end of the Gen Z spectrum.
Okay. On the line, proudly Gen X, right?
Yes. Hi everyone, I'm Hong Tao, probably a Gen X as you can see from the four of us. So I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Manulife Financial Advisors. We are a FA firm in Singapore, having 1,400 financial consultants serving our customers for their various financial needs.
Yeah. So you're here to tell people about the desires of the sandwich class.
Yes.
I have a lot of financial needs.
Yeah. So I think to set the ground, today we're having a broad discussion around like how different generations look at money and hopefully, kind of pick out some insights across the board. Because I do think that depending on your phase of life, your ideas will evolve. Right. And that's some of the interesting things that we find out in the survey. Right. So maybe for a start, just kind of help us lay the ground. Like, what are your current ideas of money? How do you look at money? What is it to you? Maybe a one-liner or two, just to give everybody a basis to work off.
Maybe I start off with, since I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay.
敬老尊贤.
Probably because of my environment, my background, money to me is something that is important. It's something that I really want to plan ahead of. But yet I will also want to take some time to enjoy the money that I've earned rather than really give everything to the future generation.
Okay, so you have essentially kind of moved into a different phase of life where, money is not that important, in terms of planning for the future. Now
That's
you want
right.
to kind of draw down.
Right. Yes.
Has it evolved over time? Like how did it kind of shape?
Yes, it is. Actually, it has really evolved over time. And I strongly believe it's because of my life stages keep changing. So I used to spend a bit more. And over time, after I have my family, my kids, I can see myself changing it a bit more. But having said that, out of this whole thing, I still live by a phrase that my mom actually guided me with, which is to live within your means. So I thought this is very apt because no matter which life stages you're in, you just need to live within your means.
What about you? Like, what are your core money ideas today?
Well, my perspective on money is that money is just a means to an end to solve problems and to have better quality of life. The goal ultimately, right, it's just a tool, right? It's just a commodity to get what I want, whether it's to get certain conveniences in my life, upgrade my lifestyle. And eventually, it's not so much like, okay, how much am I worth or how much is sitting in my bank? I mean, that's the process to get there. But it's more thinking, what's the life do I want to have? Or what are some of the problems that I face right now, my family face right now that I want to resolve? And I think making money right now, especially at this age where I can have the most energy, I think would be kind of like the process to get to that goal.
So are you then like on the fire journey or like all that? Because
Yeah.
our bro here is like big on fire. lah.
I need to correct myself.
You need to
but,
correct
but
yourself.
later,
Okay, wait. Yes.
No, now it's like the fine balance, which I haven't quite figured it out yet, right? I have the most energy and bandwidth right now to like chiong, right? And to make as much money as I can, do a gazillion side hustles and not rest. But at the same time, I feel like now till like late 20s is a time where I have to prioritize personal development goals as well, right? Learning and knowledge and experiences. So it's balancing that. For example, I have declined job offers for my full-time job and for my second career that would have paid me maybe 1.5x or 2x of what I am earning now for my day job salary, because I thought that the learning and experiences that I get now would pay off in the future in my maybe late 20s or 30s. So it's just finding this balance of how much do I want to prioritize personal development goals, like improving my knowledge and the relevant experiences versus, okay, quick cash. I want to make as much money right now.
So your boss sold you that dream.
I don't know. I sold myself that dream, I think. I don't know.
I mean, we're all investing, right? Even in our careers, all that, right? So ultimately, you made a decision that in the future, the exponential curve will make up for the loss in this jump today.
Yeah, it better not be a linear or plateau curve. I would be very, very disappointed myself.
Okay, fair. So still kind of figuring out, I think that's the whole process, such is life, right? So yeah, defend your fire movement.
Okay, so being from the millennial generation, I'm kind of stuck between both of their generation, right? So what happens is that
Sounds so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Celebrate it, man.
Okay,
You're in
so
such
now
a
the
sweet
popular
position.
word is called sandwich.
Yes.
Oh, now you have inherited the sandwich.
Okay.
I think sandwich class was your class, right?
Yes,
now,
I thought it was mine.
you graduated already.
Yeah, yes.
Pass down to you. Okay, come.
Yes. So what happens is that as a millennial generation, we have parents in the baby boomer generation. So they live with scarcity. They live with not having resources during their childhood life. So that has kind of shaped our mindset when we were brought up. Like we were not having enough money for everything. And of course, I can't speak for everyone, but I think a lot of millennials are in this generation that they were taught that their family is not doing well enough, then they should save money for the rainy days. But that came a transition during the internet age where everything you can make money through various different number of means, not even through hard work in your corporate job. So that has been a transition phase that millennials are actually facing. And in fact, the Gen Z actually took this really well. They played it to their advantage, which we really have to learn from. But a lot of millennials are still in this stuck stage that they are not willing to embrace that.
Okay. Tell me more. Like what about Gen Z that is doing well?
Yeah, you see, they embrace technology, right? They realize that they don't have to work so hard in a corporate job anymore. They can take on different kind of side gigs, and it doesn't matter because as long as they make enough dough, they make enough money, then all is well. But not for the millennial generation, because their parents may still have the mindset that you still have to work in your corporate job and stay in a stable environment and you will become rich like maybe the baby boomer generation. That has worked well for them, but maybe not for millennials. So they were brought up with this ideal that the traditional kind of mindset that everything has to be prim and proper in a corporate setting, then you are considered a successful person. But now they are in this phase where things are changing.
Okay.
Yeah, the definition of success has changed,
Yes,
right?
financial independence is actually not a new idea. But on the other hand, right, retiring early is a very negative idea. A lot of people are still not able to accept retiring early.
No way, really?
Yes. You
You
will
see
be
the Gen Z
surprised.
divide. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these are new to me. I'm like really surprised by the perspectives.
Welcome. Yes.
You see, I've been in community groups where they really defend like work till you drop, right? Because these people, maybe they realize that, okay, if you do not have anything to work for, then you don't have a purpose in life, then you don't have a positive mindset, and then you're just idling away in life, you're just sitting at home, then what are you going to do for the rest of your life? So these people have created the identity that your social standing is related to your job standing. So if you don't have a corporate identity, you don't have social status, and hence you're not successful. And then you are a bummer, which is quite difficult for millennial generation, which is why I said we are stuck. But only when you're able to take a step away from the crowd, then you're able to embrace the difference, then you can make do of what you want to do in life.
That divergence is there, lah. Whether is it career focused, redefining success, YOLO, FIRE, it's all just different perspectives to life, right?
So what you're saying is that the relationship to money is quite unified or the same throughout the family, and like different family members influence each other?
No, I think the idea here is that depending on what you believe in, it affects your financial ideas, right? So that's why the first tier of discussion is like, what are your goals? What is your life? What do you think about it, right? And then this forms the basis to then shape your financial ideas around it, right? So I think that's kind of what you were saying also, right? Leading into it. So maybe with that as the platform, right? How has your ideas then changed in terms of money over time?
Okay, so initially when I was for the FIRE movement, right, the retiring early part, so then I kind of slowly transitioned to a phase of ikigai, the reason of being.
I love that concept. I swear by it. I haven't found it, but I really swear by that.
How can you swear by something you haven't found?
Like, I haven't found it, but I swear by it. I really truly believe like the ultimate goal for a lot of people. Maybe not for everybody, but yes.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. Yes. Say it.
Okay, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the ikigai concept, so there are 4 quadrants of this. So it's like doing something you love, doing something you're good at, doing something that the world needs, and doing something that can make you money. So once you've aligned these 4 quadrants, then you will find your ikigai, which is the sweet spot of something you want to do for the rest of your life. Okay, so I've kind of transitioned to that phase that I'm working towards too. Then I've always preached that many other people should always find their own ikigai, because this is something that they may want to do for the long term, but what they are doing may not be rewarding them well enough in terms of financial or kind of emotional sense. So everyone should strive for this sense instead of the financial independence retire early movement, which is why I always need to clarify myself. I'm not for the FIRE movement.
Chris
I'm from
is
the
not on
ikigai
fire
movement.
anymore. Chris have moved on. yeah. Chris has moved on. He's like ikigai now.
I have moved
It's
on.
just like a friend works for a big 4 company, and every employee, when they go through the orientation, gets a book about ikigai.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So they
okay.
promote that concept as well?
Yeah, in the big
Okay.
4.
Okay, interesting. So with that, right, how are you shaping your finances then? I think share with our audience a little bit. How are you shaping your finances to
Okay.
search for the ikigai?
All right. So when I was in my 20s, I was like Vanessa, right? Really hustling through the
He
corporate
really
career.
is. I mean,
Then-
Still is.
Yeah. Then,
But more humble maybe now.
then after work, I go and do my side hustles, be it tuition, doing e-commerce store kind of thing. So in my 30s, especially during COVID, that was when I turned 30. Then I started to think, and I was also looking at my old corporate job. People were laid off from the job. Then I realized that I need an exit strategy because I cannot do this forever. My company will not want me forever. And what was that exit strategy? So then I started to build some social media stuff like YouTube. So YouTube was my initial social media channel. So it kind of branched out to other different things. So we moved on to more like advertising and marketing kind of thing. And then realized that actually this could sustain for quite a while before I actually built the whole financial retirement portfolio. So this is something that I could do for a long time, getting better at it. Wouldn't say perfect at it. Then what the world needs, that's debatable. But I guess people need to be more well aware of their own financial situation. So that's like financial education for the masses, right? And then what makes you money? Then of course, that's where the business sense comes in. So I would say that I'm kind of near to my ikigai goal right now. So just need some minor tweaks to it. Then yeah, I can say that I'm at ikigai.
Chris, I'm actually very curious. At which point you're like, okay, I reached this milestone. I'm like, okay, this could be something that could support me financially.
Okay, so to be fair, right, you need to be at least cash flow positive for 12 months.
How positive?
How positive, right? So make sure that at least it covers your monthly salary taken from the day job. So that means that you're making like 2x your monthly salary.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
2x.
Wow. Hey, good job, bro.
Thank you.
Cheers. To your monthly salary.
Yeah.
I get it, yeah. So that is the basis of how he looks at money, right? What about you guys? Like, how are you kind of like doing your money, like since
Doing
you-
your money.
Yeah,
I love how you're saying
yeah,
this.
I mean, since you did talk about like how you're kind of like in a different phase,
Yes,
like so have you become like a YOLO now, right? You've done all the things that you gotta do, and now you just spend.
Actually, I did. Thinking back about it, I was quite impressed by myself. So back then, after national service, I was actually enrolled into a local university. But for some reason, I said I must go overseas to study. And then I went UK. At that place, I somehow got this concept that I know I have time to travel, but I got no money to travel back then. But I know that when I start working, I will have money, but I got no time to travel. So during school days, I will save a lot. And I saved that actually for the holidays. So actually I went to a lot of countries within Europe itself, which I really enjoyed myself. So actually that shapes my concept of, okay, I'm a mathematician by training. So I do come up with equations. So there are two types of equation. Is whether it's income minus expenses, that's where you do your savings, or is income less your savings, that's where your expenses are. What are the difference between these two is the later one where you just know how much you have to save first, then you spend the rest. Because us as humans, our nature is spend first, then see what's left over. So I thought this concept really helped me in my years. Even if I transit over the different life stages, it actually helped me to be more disciplined in how I save my money and use that for my financial planning. Yeah.
But do you think that you, after, because now your kids have grown up, right? You have kind of become a bit more Gen Z. I mean, based on the survey, right? Gen Z, traveling is very important, right? I think it's a number two thing that is top of their list, right? Has it?
So something that I'm not too sure was, is it because after COVID or is it because I'm moving into a new life stage? Because traveling as a whole, I think in general, everyone loves traveling even more right now after COVID.
No, when you travel a lot, you don't like traveling.
I think in the past, my parents, maybe when they were raising me and my sister, didn't really travel too much except for family vacation. This year, my mom and dad went to Mongolia. Then my dad told me he's doing a solo trip, which he has never done in ever since I was born, to China. I was like, since when are they such big travel people?
When are you so cool, right?
Yeah, but could be because the kids are more independent now. So yeah, it could be maybe different phases of life.
It's called rechanneling of the expenses.
Yes.
So fundamentally, then there's a discussion about financial ideas are not actually different across the generation. It's just really tied to the reality that if you're young, you don't have a lot of money, then you will do the grind.
Yeah,
right?
what are you bounded by first?
Yeah.
I think the reality is you need to do some sort of financial planning in order to keep things moving. Yeah, that is just the basic of it.
Okay, fair.
All my friends want a remote job. They are really finding for very flexible job. Even my job, right after university, I had to choose between management consulting and a startup. And ever since I took on the startup role, until now, I'm always in startup and I've been working sometimes remotely as well. And I've never looked back and I love that. And I think a lot of my peers around my age feel the same way of maybe some sort of sense of freedom. But of course, not everybody can enjoy that, right? Only people who are generally more comfortable with that. But I have seen people who really save up and, really eat hawker center every day for that one Europe trip. They will really sacrifice months and months of luxury and nice food for that one trip. It means so much to them. The prioritization have shifted.
I think that is interesting because essentially at some point it's about spending on what matters to you, right?
Yes.
And I think that is what prudence is about. It's not about not spending, it's about spending on the things that matter. Hey, welcome to the Financial Coconut Podcast Network. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And if you're loving what we're creating here, like, share, subscribe, share with your loved ones, comment in the comment section below. And yeah, we'll see you for great content on Chills with TFC. So then, if that's the case, right, going down this train of thought, right, how important is then retirement in your thought process at this point in time?
Wow, I haven't really thought about retirement. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think Millennials front and center is a retirement discussion now.
Fun fact, I thought about retirement in my first year of work.
Wow, actually, that's very sad. I don't know, maybe if... Well, I don't know if that's concerning or what. Okay. I hope your boss is hearing this.
I think that is quite concerning.
Okay, the reason is because when I just stepped into corporate, right, then I realized all this drama and movies, they make it sound really nice about corporate work. Yeah, whereas I'm drained, by the end of the day. Come on, I can't be doing this for the rest of my 40 years, man. So I need to start planning for retirement. So that's when the seed got planted in me for my own financial planning for retirement. And that's where all the CPF stuff, I read up so much about it, then start building up my knowledge about them. But it wasn't until when I was 30 that I started my YouTube channel. But you realize that all this knowledge is actually built up over the years. It's not like I suddenly read up, then I start a YouTube channel on this. It's because of all these situations and events that you face in your life that you realize that you need to make a change. And it may be a single turning point for some of you because you'll realize that actually working forever is not what you want. And maybe you need to pivot to something else, be your side hustles or be another career that you may have more passion in. So this may be a reality for some of you.
It's not bound to age, right? It's you can have your revelation throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends on what you do or your relationship, your
something
work.
happen or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm quite the opposite. I mean, not so much on your point about finding what you're passionate about, which is great. But like, I think from the start,
which I don't think is great. That's a different
Is it?
discussion.
Whoa.
I don't think it's good. It's
That's-
financially not wise. Chris comes from a view that he has already accumulated. Fair?
Yeah.
That's a basis, right? So when you've already accumulated, you can do your passion thing, right? Yeah. That's not
Passion doesn't
essential
make
to
money.
passion. Yes. And that's the intersection with Ikigai. There's the realization that there is the money aspect of it.
Correct.
That anchors it, right? Yeah.
But when you asked about, have I thought about early retirement? I've never really thought about it in the last 2 years when I was working because I really enjoy what I do. And I go through a lot of like crap too, right? Like, funding winter. I was in Web3 startup and then market crash right after I joined. And I was exhausted because I had to like do US calls until like midnight every day sometimes. So it was exhausting, but I really enjoyed it and I felt so fulfilled that I'm like, I can keep on going. It drains me like physically, but it's very stimulating. I'm like, wow, like I'm working on something super meaningful and cool and exciting and it makes me smarter each day. I'm working on something that I never really thought about retirement because as long as it's fulfilling, I think I can keep going on and on and on.
So would you say this is the generic Gen Z view today?
No, not everybody. I was just fortunate enough to have jobs that fulfilled that intellectual stimulating part that I wanted, but also something I enjoyed learning about every day and I can feel some sort of growth. But I think for Gen Zs where they don't see themselves growing or stimulated in an environment where they are surrounded by people smarter than them or they are faced with challenges and doing something that is less routine. Like if they're doing something monotonous, I feel that it's probably what Chris said, right? Like, when am I going to retire and get out of this shit?
Yeah. Make a guess, okay? Make a guess. How often are Gen Zs changing job? I got this big data from someone from a big job portal, okay? Yeah, there's a fun fact. I will not say who lah, but make a guess. How often are Gen Zs changing jobs?
I'm guessing based on my data points around me, about less than 2 years. 1.5 years maybe even.
The data says it's 8 months.
What?
Oh,
Yes,
are you
yes.
serious?
This is from a very big job
As
portal.
in they leave or they get laid off?
Yeah, whatever. So they change. For whatever reason, they change. Right. And this is a very interesting because on some level, I think it's an intersection between the pursuit of bigger things in life, right? And not just trying to like do the grind and also it's a different times, right?
Or your boss is mean and you're even if like they pay raise me, I'm not gonna take all the crap that like the boss is abusing me for, and they would prioritize maybe that mental health stage, which I see in my circle. Also, like, within probation, if the boss is mean to them, they're just gonna leave even if it's super high paying. It's not worth it.
But you're still paid quite well to pay a 2.7 thousand rent, right?
I have great bosses.
Agree, right?
My financial advisor might not agree with the way I spend. So have my parents.
Okay. Do you have some wisdom to share with us?
So what Vanessa and Chris mentioned are very spot on. So as mentioned, the Manulife Asia Care Survey did say that actually Gen Z don't really think about retirement at the moment.
Yeah, live the moment.
Live the moment. And thinking about myself, I probably was the same back then.
I think
as
I'm
well.
also the same. That's why I don't think it's a generation thing. It's just a time phase of life.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I don't recall the last time I had the word retirement in a conversation in the last 1 year at all. We'll be talking about miles and cards and the flights and maybe certain rewards and financial planning, but like the word retirement has never came up in the last 1
which
year.
I also find it very concerning. It's taking up too much mind space. All those things are next time, another podcast. Yes.
So for me, maybe I just give a different perspective. I don't really use the word retirement so much. And I hearing from all of you, it's more maybe just a bit more about financial independence. At which age you can reach financial independence so that you can do the things that you like.
Can you define like how do you know when you're considered independent? Because like your expenses changes as you go through different life stages, right? Right now, like no debt, no kids, whatever. But then that bar grows and grows and grows. How much do you review? Like, okay, what does it take to be financially independent?
Yeah. So Singapore is a bit peculiar. So just need to be mindful of a few things because obviously we have our CPF. That will help build your retirement as well. So that's something that you need to consider. Other than that, the regulator, Monetary Authority of Singapore, they are actually providing a lot of guides and help to help our nation, our Singaporeans to be able to make a better financial planning. So in case you didn't know, please search this thing called the Basic Financial Planning Guide that came out a few months ago. It does have a few archetypes of personas, about 5 or 6 of them, I believe, to guide you through in the different stages of life. What do you need to look out for as you plan along that kind of thing? So no doubt, I think some planning is still required along the way. And you may not go through all the 6 stages, but I think it gives you a good sense that if I want to achieve financial independence, what should I look out for? Unfortunately, there's no one fixed solution. For example, Vanessa, you may never want to own a house. So actually, you don't have a liability in that sense.
And how often should we review this?
I would recommend annually.
Okay.
And especially when you have a big life stage. Yeah.
I feel like the big life change more realistic. Annually, I get it. It's like best practice,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
but
yes.
it's like sometimes it's really a lot.
It depends, it depends. Because things, actually, because of technology and how things change very fast nowadays, actually, we do just need to be on top of it that actually things do change very fast. And you don't want to catch it only too late when you realize something happened.
Fair. So in that guide, right, maybe how should we plan our finances?
Teach me.
We are like
Humble students.
millennials.
People say I play one on the internet.
Wait, people say you play.
Yeah. What does this guy know about retirement? He's only in his 30s.
Yeah. Because I think you have a quite interesting story. So what do the internet say about what do you know about retirement?
Yeah, you see the thing is, right, people judge you based on your age and how you look. So basically, when people are talking about retirement, they are looking at people like 50s, 60s, then talking about their life experiences, right? Then you have this young 30-looking guy talking about retirement and CPF in his 30s with no major life experiences. I get where they are coming from, right? Because a whole part of my life is just like the few years of my corporate career plus maybe a few self-employed experiences. So then how are you qualified to talk about retirement when you yourself have not achieved it yet? But what a lot of people don't recognize is we don't have to be at the destination to talk about. We can talk about the journey. We can talk about our struggles, our challenges towards working that goal.
That's what the internet likes, right?
Yeah,
these days.
And it's getting more traction, all these like people working towards it. Rather than those people who have accomplished it. And then it seems like they are talking down on those people who have not.
Day in the life, right? Day in the life.
I mean, if you look at our financial advisors, not all of them are like Lambo drivers and retirees, but I take the advice, right?
Okay, so how you give you a platform? Tell us, how should we do this thing? From a millennial standpoint, let's say don't retire early, right? From a financial independence standpoint, high earning, middle upper class working professionals, right? What would be your point of view in terms of planning your finances?
I will always advise 2 things. Today's discussion, we do focus quite a bit on accumulating wealth. Actually, there's other part is how to protect your wealth as well. And what I meant by that is we really don't know when, for example, illnesses will really hit us. And that's where if we don't do a proper financial protection, that's where our money will be lost to bills and things like that. And you all know Singapore is not cheap when it comes to hospitalization.
Sorry, Singapore is not cheap when it comes to anything.
No, but I can relate to this, especially as you, when you work more and you get older. Like I feel like I'm literally only 25, but I visited the doctor more times in my 2 years of working full time than ever in my life. Like literally every 2 months.
So what happened to loving your job? In some ways, this is a cost, right?
Yeah, but like the health concerns grow, but maybe it's just my poor lifestyle as well, right? I don't blame it all on my job. I also drink and party and stuff, right? But yeah, like this whole illnesses thing, it gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, you can go to your fancy gyms and have like awesome lifestyle routine and meditate and stuff. Like things happen, man. Yeah.
Let's come back together in 10 years' time. This is where we will talk about midlife crisis.
Besides pulling out our financial report, we need to pull out our health report as well.
Yes. So accumulating wealth, I don't need to elaborate because I think everyone is well versed how you can invest in different instruments from insurance to investment kind of thing. But maybe one thing that I just want to just speak a bit more is on the protection part because I thought it's really important. So taking myself for example, I have a family, a wife and 2 boys, and they still need to go to tertiary, go for education. I'm the sole breadwinner. So if anything happened to me, I just need to make sure they are covered. So that's where the protection part will come in terms of the death benefit. And like I mentioned just now, it's worse still if any one of 4 of us that fall sick, the medical bill, we have one of our financial consultants who actually had a brain tumor, a brain cancer. Yeah, so the bill is actually 200 to 300K right now and it's still counting because you don't know when it's going to come back, when it's going to things like that. And it's only 31 this year. So in one of his speeches on the stage, he did say that actually these kind of diseases, they don't discriminate. They don't look at your age. They don't look at your race, it may come. So while today a lot of discussion is on accumulating wealth, I just want to bring across this that protecting our wealth is very important as well.
I have one question around this, right? So you tie it to your dependents, right? In some ways, So whatever life policies that you're talking about, essentially, if something happened to you, then there's a lump sum payout, then your kids can kind of continue, right? So recently there's been a bit more of a trending discussion where at some point your kids are no longer your dependents, right?
Okay.
They grow up.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So would you stop your policies?
So this is part of the life stages that we are talking about. So whatever I have bought right now, if I wholesale, I ask Vanessa, take it up, you must follow this. It's definitely not correct because we are all so different. Our life stages are different. I mean, just to be upfront, touch wood, if Vanessa passed on today, actually she may not have as much liability as I am because I have a family. So that's the life stages that I'm talking about. And then we just need to plan accordingly to our current life stage and do an annual review. I mean, this is of course a bit of advertisement that using a financial consultant, not only just to advise you, but to collaborate with you and to understand your situation and able to help you along the way to see how to make this thing better, more efficient.
In a world where there is a lot more technology, there's a lot more content, more data sets out there, right? Why do I still need a financial advisor?
So in fact, in our industry, we were also worried about the digital disruption. We know they disrupted a lot of industry from the taxi, transportation and things like that. We were really concerned that it will disrupt us. But having said that, at least in the Asia context, we realized that what is the key difference between a technology and a human is the human touch. It is really different. And I think currently our opinion is that the whole financial planning is still quite a complicated process because it actually needs to fit to the person's actual situation. While yes, we also realize that the younger generation, the Gen Zs, they do read up a bit
Millennials
more.
also very young, huh?
Yes,
Please,
sorry.
Okay.
The millennials and the Gen Z and everything after that.
We try very hard.
So actually they are very well versed. I know you'll read a lot more, research a lot more, but at the end of the day, I think due to the complexity of the financial products and the nature of the business, I still highly recommend to get a financial consultant to assist you in your financial planning. I myself, although I'm the CEO of a FA firm, I do have a consultant that helps me as well. Not really just to someone I can bounce off idea with because she is in this profession. She is able to advise me and give me some good ideas as well on how to redo some of my portfolio, relook at some of my financial planning. Just think of them as your partners in business and the home front to make sure your financial well-being are taken care of. The worst thing you want is you either don't make your money work harder or your money get lost because of illness and something else. Yeah, that's where the pain will come in.
Fair.
Not just for the advice part, but like if something happens, right? Like when I fracture my ankle, I don't want to go to a platform and figure out, I'm in so much pain already. Like I'm not going to sit down
Scroll an ad
and like
hey, what's
figure
going on?
out this app situation. I want my advisor to help me do all the claims as much as I know that I can do it myself on the app, right? And also be like, do you need a lift to the hospital? Like come down. And when my friend got E. coli, her agent went down and like upgraded her room, spoke to the hospital, helped to clarify certain things. And like this self-serve thing can't solve that emotional aspect, but also other holistic part that, you know, that is huge value add, but they do it because they care about you as a person as well, not just as a...
I'm so glad it's coming from her rather than me because then they say I have a vested interest.
Yeah, you know, later they say you sell Goyo, right?
No, but as someone who like, I've gotten injured multiple times, I've made a gazillion claims before, it makes so much
Girl,
difference.
at 25, you're going to the hospital so
Yeah.
often.
Like,
This
for
job
my
thing is
fracture,
problematic.
No, physiotherapist for like my fracture. I'm just very injury prone,
Yes,
so
yes,
I can
yes.
see
You
it
really
as
need to
well.
find an ikigai.
Yeah. Fair. And I think there is a basis for these, right? So let's keep the conversation going, right? But you're correct that I think a lot of people are reading more and more, right? And so I'm going to plug, okay? Yeah, then you must read the Manulife Asia Care Survey 2024, right? I will put a link below and all the good stuff that we've discussed, right? So maybe we, in closing, just go one round and maybe pick up one of the things that you've heard today that you thought was quite interesting.
I think something that was interesting, right, is a lot of my thought process now is like really in the moment. And my current situation, I'm happy in my job, I'm happy in my boss, I'm happy in my current financial situations. But like I never thought of like, oh, what if this happened? Which I hear from you guys, right? Oh, like, oh, once you have kids, you're not just thinking about yourself, but what if your kid just wants to game every day? Then you have to think about that person's financial situation and how to incentivize them. Or like in Chris's situation, like with the whole corporate job thing and then also trying out new independent careers like YouTube, right? Then your financial considerations have shifted so much. I think I never really thought of, okay, how are my thought process and planning and also maybe strategy for savings and investment is going to change, right? I've always just been like, okay, just one track route. So I mean, it's really a lot of food for thought. And I think after this conversation, I have a lot of work to do also.
Okay. Chris, you want to say anything?
Yeah. So in my channel, I always talk about building a wealth, go and earn more income, have more savings. But really, the fundamental of financial independence, there is one thing you really need to remember is your own protection, because that is the biggest risk. What if you're unable to work? What if you're unable to take on some other jobs? Then all this work that you're bringing in money, you can only bring to your own hospital bed, which is quite sad, for a lot of people, because I witnessed my classmate funeral at 31. So that was very traumatizing for me. That was when I really started to take a second look at my own insurance policies, and they must evolve over time, right? Because of life stages change, be it your marriage, a newborn, and all that. So really, if you only focus about building financial independence, then one of the cornerstone is really on the protection, which is part of your capital preservation plans as well. So don't forget this very important part of insurance.
Yeah, it's just all risk management. Yeah, Hong Tai, I give you the last word.
Thank you so much. So nice. Okay. For me, actually, I thought we started off the session more like comparing between Zen X, Zen Y, and Zen Z, right?
But after that, we realized quite similar, right? It's just a different stage of life thing. It's not unique to a cohort, right?
Yes. So one key takeaway I have is actually, it's not about our generations. I think no one generation is better than the other in that sense. It's actually really on our life stages, what we are experiencing. Another thing that I can take away is actually either extreme is not good. If you save too much, also not good. If you spend all the way, also no good. So it's always a healthy balance of how we want to manage our finances. So at the end of the day, I still feel that no matter what life stage we are in, continuous financial planning is still very important, and it should be part of your life, because that will help you to continue to move forward and hopefully move toward all your different goals that we have.
I interview people day in, day out, right? So I hear a lot of things. But I think one thing that we didn't realize drawing the lesson actually was from your story, right? Because a lot of the problems that you struggle with is kind of tied to the fundamental ideas that you are working with, which is the high intensity job. Then lead to all these other so-called problems in life, right? Going to the hospital more, getting all these problems and all that. So sometimes it is not about stacking more things onto an already problematic fabric. Right? It's kind of like maybe we want to change what is underneath. Then a lot of these problems at the top no longer need to exist.
That's true. Like example, the high rent is to save time so I can work more, for example. Yeah.
And so if you make some of these fundamental changes, actually a lot of the systems can be much simpler. So often we just think of stacking, right? When you do this, okay, so to achieve this, we do this, then we add this, then we protect, then we invest, blah, blah, blah. Right? But actually, if you can go,
maybe less is more.
Yeah, maybe, sometimes just solving the thing at the bottom, that's it. Right? So yeah. Great. Wow, that was a great ending. So thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, put in the comment section. We'll try to answer all of them. And once again, thank you for joining me on set. Right, and that's the end for today. Right, so take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.